Hello, everyone. Tony here. US stocks ended sharply lower on Friday as risk appetite waned following Iran's retaliation against Israel's attack with missile and drone strikes. While the situation in the Middle East remains fluid, S&P 500 futures are trading about 1% higher this morning, likely buoyed by Israel's early success in targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and military capabilities. Additionally, while Israel has targeted Iranian energy infrastructure used domestically, it has refrained from targeting key Iranian export infrastructure around oil. Now, Iran produces about 3.5% of the global oil supply. So if that supply was lost, it wouldn't be a massive game changer. However, there are fears that Iran may close the Strait of Hormuz, which would impact oil trade as it is the primary route for oil exports from major OPEC producers, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE, and also Kuwait. This is viewed as a measure of last resort by Iran, as it would affect its main customers, China and India, and increase the likelihood of US military intervention. The knock-on effect of higher energy prices is they could slow the economic pace of growth and push headline inflation higher. Now, central banks would likely overlook a temporary spike in energy prices. However, a prolonged elevation could impact core inflation as businesses adjust and transport and production costs move higher to reflect the price of energy. This adds another variable for the Fed to consider when it meets to discuss interest rates this week. Let's take a look at the charts of the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq to see where they are as we start this new week. All right, to recap, this is the sell-off after Liberation Day and the new tariffs which came in, taking us all the way down to this 1654, 1542 low of April. The decline is viewed as a correction, and then within our Elliott wave framework, we look for a 5-wave advance after a correction. Now, you can see I've mapped out your wave 1, your wave 2, and this could potentially be a wave 3. Now, we've spoken about the possibility of a wave 3 forming and a wave 4 pullback a couple of times. It hasn't happened. So we try and put some levels against this view to give us more confidence that a wave 4 pullback is unfolding. This particular instance suggests we need to see the Nasdaq break below support at 21,500 to 21,400 to really increase the idea that we have had a wave 3 high here and that we're seeing a wave 4 pullback. Providing the wave 4 pullback holds the support coming from the 200-day moving average at around 20,500, then I would look for another leg higher to complete a 5-wave advance. If the Nasdaq were to see a sustained break below the 200-day moving average, I think that would be a bit of an indicator that potentially we're going to see a deeper pullback. So base case is we'd love to see a pullback into this area here before another leg higher for the Nasdaq. For the S&P 500, a similar situation. You can see a wave 1, a wave 2, and this potentially is a wave 3 high up here at 60.59 last week. We need to see further downside follow through to confirm that a wave 4 pullback is underway and that the wave 3 has finished. This point of time, we're not seeing that, but it's something we're going to be watching closely for. And I suspect what would happen if we did see that pullback was there would be buyers into this 5,800 area and reinforced by this 57.67 low. So while we held this area here on the possibility of a pullback, I think there would also be a high likelihood we saw another push higher, potentially taking out the 61.47 record high. Aware, of course, if we were to see a sustained break of support 5,800 to 57.70ish, then it probably warns of a deeper pullback. So the base case for both the Nasdaq and the S&P is we're awaiting confirmation that the wave 3 high is in place and that a wave 4 pullback is about to unfold. Potentially the events which we've spoken about could be the catalyst for that, but at this point of time, we're waiting for more price action to confirm. Thank you for listening and have a good week ahead.